In this presentation, we will discuss amending your SFSP program. When are SFSP application revisions needed? These are needed when a sponsor wants to adjust the number of meals served or the ADP at a given site or sites for any approved meal service, when a sponsor wants to adjust the meal service times at sites, change the days of operation, such as the program length, to include addition and/or deletion of days, such as for holidays or early closures, to add or delete participating sites, to make adjustments to approved staffing plans, to make adjustments to the budget, such as additional or less allocation for a given line item. Sponsors are responsible for notifying the state agency of changes to their program. The requested change is not approved until a status change occurs in the online application submission, when it goes from submitted to approved. All amendments to the sponsor applications, site or facility applications, and/or SFSP claims must be done in the CMP website. Sponsors are responsible for notifying the state agency of changes to the program. The requested change is not approved until a status change occurs in the online application submission from submitted to approved. This means that an email or telephone notification is not sufficient. Only the head of the organization and the authorized representative have editing rights of the SFSP applications. These individuals can create additional user accounts and set limitations for accessing the SFSP applications. How to amend a sponsor level application. In the example provided, the sponsor wishes to add an additional volunteer to the sponsor staffing plan and to increase the amount of SFSP funding allocated towards non-food supply purchases in the budget. Here are the steps for completion. First, you will log into the CMP website and access the purple Summer Feeding tab. Number 2, on the left-hand portion of the screen, you will click on Applications. Under that will be Sponsor Application, and then you will click on Revise Application. Number 3, on the next screen that displays, you will click Create Revision as seen below. Create Revision provides an editable version of the sponsor application. In the top left of the screen, the unsubmitted application appears. Initial applications appear as revision 0 in the revision history. You can click on the page or pages where the changes need to be made. For example, the staffing update needed will be on page 4, and the budget updates needed will be on page 5 of the sponsor application. On the top half of the screen, we see the original display. We will enter the line item details for the new staff member or volunteer that will be added to the sponsor revision. Then we will click on Add. Once you click on Add, you will see the revised display below. Here are updates for budget updates. Here are the steps for completion. The current budget for non-food supplies of $1,000 isn't sufficient for the current SFSP. They have estimated that $1,800 will be needed for this expense category. Number 1, remove the figure previously entered and key in the new dollar value in the following format: dollars followed by 2 decimal places. We don't need a dollar sign. Then you will click Save at the bottom of the page. Verify the budget adjustment did not cause the total budget to exceed the anticipated reimbursement. Then you will be able to submit your application. Here's a screenshot provided. In this example, the total anticipated reimbursement is $42,339. After we've added in our non-food supply costs to our budget, we are at $35,454 in our anticipated budget. Please note that the budget does not exceed the anticipated reimbursement. Here are some sponsor budget editing tips for ensuring success. Edit one line item at a time, saving in between. Click in the cell that you wish to update. Next, click on the X that displays to the right of the last information reported. This will delete the data. Type in the numeric value that you wish to add using numbers only, no dollar signs. Click Save at the bottom of the screen. Once saved, the budget should display the new total at the bottom. If additional edits are needed, make them one by one as described above. Always check the final amount in the budget against the anticipated reimbursement to ensure that the budget is not greater than the reimbursement. After saving necessary changes, click on Submit Applications on the left-hand side of the screen. Read the certification statement, check the sponsor application, and then click Submit. Now we will discuss amending your SFSP facility applications. The same editing and submission process is followed when a sponsor needs to make changes to a previously approved facility application. The sponsor will click on the Applications link on the left-hand side of the screen and then click on Facility Application. Once this is accessed, the Revise Application feature will be available. Once changes are made, submit the application. The sponsor will then need to target the site for which a revision is needed. Under the Actions column, you will select Revise and then Go. Most edits made to the facility application or applications also cause changes to the sponsor application. If this occurs, the website will require a sponsor-level application revision to accompany any facility-level application revisions. Once the sponsor application revision has been initiated, check page 5, which is your anticipated budget versus your anticipated reimbursement, to ensure that the changes did not cause the budget to exceed the reimbursement. The following revision changes to a facility application will require a revised sponsor application to be submitted along with the edited facility applications. Changes to the staffing plan that involve more or less allocation for staff. Changes to the calendar, deletion or addition of days. Changes to the ADP for one or more meal services. Addition or deletion of a meal service. When in doubt, amend your sponsor application and submit it along with your revised facility application or applications. Here's an important note about application amendments. 1. An amendment will not be effective until it's approved by the state agency. The same is true of initial applications. The program is not approved to operate until the status is changed from submitted to approved. Number 2. The expected level of reimbursement listed in the sponsor application is calculated from the anticipated information in the site applications. Changing the length of operation, the average daily participation, and/or adding or deleting sites or meal offerings will change the anticipated reimbursement. If total number of operating days are increased or decreased for a given site staffing days should be adjusted accordingly. The same applies to the sponsor staffing plan. If adjustments to a site cause the program to run longer, sponsor staffing days will need to be adjusted. Please plan your program in advance to assure that you are able to begin operations as scheduled. Here's a note on field trip notifications to the state agency. Although an online application amendment or revision is not needed for field trip purposes, sponsors must notify the state agency prior to serving SFSP meals off-site for field trips. Please email shanna.leger@la.gov or fax the state agency with Shanna Leger's attention prior to the field trip. Items to report are as follows: the impacted sites and meal services, the date or dates of the off-site field trips, and the estimated number of children participating. If we do not receive notification of your field trip, those meals could be disallowed.